So when God created you, He created you for a purpose, and He'll reveal that purpose to you through His relationship with Him.
Just the surface wasn't all bad. I learned about purpose and how to operate in powers that I had, but I ain't even know it. But just stay focused. We was put on God Green's earth for a purpose, and that's
Hey, it's the Lovin Life On Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Robin Harris Walker. If this is your first time experiencing this podcast, I'd like to say welcome. If it's not, I'd like to say welcome back. I'm excited that you're joining us. This is a podcast that's all about purpose. Here we talk about the purpose for your life, why you were created, and how you can love life when you know your purpose. Okay? And this episode, we're going to talk about lack of purpose and the symptoms of it and solutions. So it would be a shame to leave you without understanding what it feels like to really have lack of purpose and a solution to it. So I'd like to hear from you. What is it that have you ever felt that there's been a void in your life? Have you ever felt like you just didn't know which way to go? That's a common thing, and I'd like to hear from you what that feeling, if you've ever experienced it, feels like for you. Do you feel empty? Do you feel lost? Do you feel sad? Put it in the chat. Let me know what you're feeling or you've ever felt, and why you're looking really to understand purpose and to discover it. So as we go through, we're going to talk a lot about the symptoms today. And one of the things that happens when you lack purpose is you really find yourself stagnant, right? And nobody likes to be that way, but in some cases, you just don't know where to go. So to avoid being destructive, you just don't do anything. And that's a very common thing. So if you feel like that, and I see that in the chat, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that during Q&A sessions and some panel discussions as well. So as you begin to focus on what it is you want to do in life, or the fact that there's something missing in your life. Oftentimes we feel like there's a void. Maybe there's a void in finances. There may be a void in your career. You're just not satisfied with the things that you're doing day to day. And in the event that that happens, sometimes people will say, I feel like there's a fog. I feel like I can't really think through things. I feel like there's something in front of me that doesn't let me get past a certain point in life. Generally, that is associated with lack of purpose. So when you begin to feel that way, you begin to seek out a solution. Like, how can I get over this feeling? So what do people do? They say, I'm going to get a new hobby. I'm going to get a new career. I may just need to change jobs. I may need to change where I live. But then suddenly you find out, I still feel the same. I've packed up, moved to a new city, and I still have this fog. I've gotten a new job and I still feel like I have not created anything new for yourself. And you feel still that lack of purpose. So what I want you to understand is when you feel that way, it's normal. It's normal because as we were created by God, He created us for a specific purpose. And only God can reveal that purpose to you. Okay? Now remember, we have the soul purpose. That's the purpose that you create for yourself. Anybody can do it. There are multiple people doing it, being a teacher, being a scientist, all those things, right? As you begin to discover that there's more to it and you still feel a void and you think you were operating in your purpose, you still feel there are areas of lack in your life, you begin to seek direction. But that direction has to come from the one who created you. Just like we did with when you think about appliances working together in a kitchen. They all have the unique purpose, but when they come together, they serve the purpose of creating a meal, providing nourishment. So that's all great. We want to get to that place in our personal lives so that we can prosper in the areas of our finances, our family, our career, and our spiritual purpose. So keep in mind that it is okay to have that fog, but only for a moment. You should begin to seek out a solution. And as we explore solutions to feeling the fog, a solution to filling the void. We want to make sure that we're filling that void with what we were intended to do. We don't want to just jump into things because everybody else is doing it. We don't want to just become a part of something because you feel like, I have nothing else to do. I may as well do something. We want to focus on what that something is. And how do we know what that something is? We have to go back to the manufacturer. The manufacturer of you is God. So when God created you, he created you for a purpose, and he'll reveal that purpose to you through his relationship with him. Okay? Your relationship, your communication that you have on a daily, ongoing basis with God will allow you to begin to understand why he created you. It really is a matter of seeking him for that direction. Now, let's talk about the solution. How do we do that? How do we get the answer to what it is that we're supposed to do here on this earth? As we look into the things that have occurred in our past, I want you all to be very cognizant of something. Where you start does not determine where you end up. Okay? So, all of us have experienced a lack of purpose. I shared in an earlier podcast that I did not have direction until I really sought God to understand what it is I'm exactly supposed to do, because I thought my career was it. But when that did not fulfill me in all areas of my life, I said, there's still something missing, and only God could give me that. When you begin to seek God, that's the beginning step of your solution. So you begin to ask, just ask the questions, just as you would of any creator, the creator of any object. Their intention when they created that thing for its purpose was to perform a specific task. Now, when you ask God, why was I created? He'll begin to show you things about what he's put in you already. He'll begin to bring up experiences that have prepared you to begin to operate and live in your purpose. Now, some of the examples that I'd like to give that talk about solutions, they're not as, probably not what you expect to hear, but I want you to think about a person who's experienced a tragedy in life. A tragedy of loss. Many of us have experienced the loss of a loved one, especially lately, or someone that we were close to, someone we knew or worked closely with. During this pandemic, many people have lost loved ones. And as we process that grief, God allows us to use every tumultuous situation, every bad experience, every good experience, every neutral experience that we've gone through in life to prepare for the purpose that he has set in front of us. It's very unusual that a child comes into his or her purpose, primarily because they have not experienced life. So experiencing life is a good thing. The good, the bad, the ugly. That's a great thing, because what God does is he doesn't waste anything. He doesn't waste the fact that we were hurt. He doesn't waste the fact that we experienced loss. He doesn't waste the fact that we were the best in our class, but no longer are we as bright and vibrant on the job. He does not waste that, okay? But all of those things lead up to God revealing the purpose for your life. There are assignments that God gives us along the path that help us get to that understanding of our purpose. So while we may be thinking that my purpose is to be a great writer, there was a time in my life where I was a great writer. I wrote for an international trade publication and I was really good at it. I enjoyed international trade and everything about being a reporter. However, that was only an assignment on my life that allowed me to be proficient in other areas as a writer, as a reporter. So that's one area that God allowed me to go through. And honestly, the working environment was not the best. I had a very, very, very mean supervisor that I had to report to every day and still do good work. So that was not good for me. However, it helped me process my life and the situations in my life so that I could be successful in my purpose. So I want us to take a moment and just put down in the chat and let me know some of the things that have been challenges in your life. And I want you to take note of it. I don't want you to just share it in the chat. I want you to make a note of it, because as you begin to identify those things that could have normally would break many people, I want to begin to show you how God allows those things to direct you into your purpose. But it doesn't happen until you seek Him for it. Otherwise, you're going to continue to have the fog. You're going to continue to have the lack of purpose. You're going to continue to feel a void in your life. One of the things that's really important as we move forward and we continue to share and we continue to grow together in identifying our purpose and loving our life as a result of it is going to be transparency. You have to acknowledge the things that have caused you to come to a place that say, what's next for me? And a lot of times it's the things in the past. But remember, we don't stay there. We move forward. And when we have purpose, it's smooth sailing. It really is. Not that there won't be any challenges in life, but when you're on purpose and you know your purpose, you're able to stay focused and still get the prosperity. You still get to enjoy what you do. You still get to please God in doing it. And you get to bless others. So, thank you for joining this podcast. Thank you for listening. In our next episode, we're going to continue to explore. If there's anything that you'd like to share with me, comment below. I'll get back. I will respond in Q&A. Some situations require me to really reach out to you directly. I don't mind doing that. I love sharing purpose. So please comment in the below, subscribe, like us, and just let's keep in touch, because your purpose is important and I'd love to help you understand it. And this is a real thing. I've worked with people who on January 1st had no idea what their purpose was at the time. And then by May that same year, they were building multi-million-dollar businesses, not just in thought, not just in speaking it into existence, but actual multi-millions of dollars, because they discovered their purpose that God created them for. When that happens, that's where the void goes away. So now you'll have your solutions to move forward, and I'd love to continue talking to you about it. So until we talk again, stay on purpose, stay focused, and let's continue to seek out while we're here.